Austrian independence has never been so contested. Italy has abandoned us and Hitler is seeking to make us a part of his Reich. We need to weaken the fascist influence, otherwise our country will cease to exist. The only way to get rid of them is to restore the monarchy. But some nobles have a problem with our future leader, Otto von Habsburg. They think he's way too liberal and pan-European, but that's what we want. We will create a democratic European Union strong enough to fight against all evil forces in this crazy world. Now we are finally ready to restore the Habsburg monarchy. But those nobles who are against Otto's rule are trying with the part of the military to take over the country. We won't let this happen. We quickly took Salzburg. Both our armies were weak, but we managed to outmaneuver them, and when we captured Innsbruck they surrendered. Now we finally have Otto as our leader, and the first thing we will do is to unite with Hungary. The Hungarians already had 30% support for monarchy, but with the help of some propaganda we got it to 50%. We called for a referendum and won by 1%. But that's enough. Now we have united Austria and Hungary once again. With Hungary under our control, we started to build up our industry. When the focus was done, we started to move down our politic tree. In the meantime, we managed to trick the Germans that we would support them and managed to sign a non-aggression pact with them. When our spies were finished in Germany, we sent them to Czechoslovakia to boost monarchist ideology. We continued with our industry focuses while we waited. Now it was time to call a referendum in Czechoslovakia too. Before the results were in, we came to an agreement with the Romanians. We would guarantee their independence in return for Transylvania. The referendum in Czechoslovakia was successful and we annexed them. We also started talks with Yugoslavia and Italy about their claimed lands. The Italians wanted to change our part of Tyrol against Istria and Fiume. We cannot agree with this. And Yugoslavia strangely didn't respond to anything. We had reunited what we could of the empire, so Otto's job was done. 70 days later, we had formed our democracy. We wrote our constitution and revived diplomacy. We rebooted our diplomacy with Romania and Yugoslavia to show them that we had peaceful intentions and that we seek to industrially cooperate with them. To ensure the independence of our newly formed democracy, we started training new divisions and fortifying our German and Italian border. We really needed to start militarizing because the world is turning closer and closer to war each day. The British monarchy is back, and in Russia the White Army is seeking to reform their empire. The time has come to proclaim our European ambitions. We created the European Entente and declared that the Danubian state was the first state in the European Union. The Germans quickly realized that we weren't on their side anymore and broke the non-aggression pact. We embargoed Italy and Germany for their expansionist ideas. Our goal is to integrate all of Europe, but no one wants to join just like that. So we will engage in economic support to strengthen the integration process. Meanwhile, the Germans abandoned the Italians after an agreement with the British. We could now invite the French to our faction. Our first economic cooperation with the Balkans was kinda successful. Yugoslavia and Bulgaria joined, and now we all guarantee each other. We started to invest in Poland too, but we didn't guarantee each other. While we were on our way to invest in France, it happened. The British declared war on Ireland. We invited them to our faction and joined their war. The French also joined. After some days, the Germans joined the war on the British side. Strangely enough, they didn't have a lot of divisions on our border. So, we launched a minor offensive into Niederschlesien. The offensive was successful as we didn't meet any German resistance. We started an offensive to link up with the French troops in Alsace-Lorraine. This time the Germans were more prepared and we only managed to capture 2 tiles. So we sent over 6 divisions to support the Irish. We captured Belfast and even managed to cross to Scotland. We only have 4 divisions at our disposal because all of our convoys have been sunken. But we managed to capture Glasgow and Edinburgh, and then, out of nowhere, the Poles asked if they could join our alliance. Of course we accepted. Some days later, Poland joined the war against Germany. The Germans started to attack us in some places, so we counterattacked them and managed to capture some provinces. But we had to stop our offensive due to extremely high German cast damage. If we want to win this war, we need better fighters. Luckily, the Germans didn't have cast in Bavaria. We captured München and managed to encircle some German divisions. After some time, they moved over their cast and our offensive was halted. Meanwhile, we expanded our market into the Benelux and we guaranteed the Netherlands. Sadly, Belgium didn't want one because they are a monarchy and support the Germans. If we want to create a strong European Union, we can't rely on the USA. Therefore, we will confront the USA and expand our markets in Europe instead of the United States. Meanwhile, in the UK, the Irish had managed to make quite some gains, mostly because the British army was somewhere else. We continued to expand and encircle British divisions, and when the Irish marched into London, the British surrendered. Ireland had now not only united Ireland but also the whole British Isles. Now we only had to defeat Germany. Romania got couped by fascists who joined Germany. We had some divisions nearby, and with the help of the Polish army we managed to quickly crush them. The Germans constantly bashed their head against us, so we could encircle small amounts of their army. The French had started to gain ground along the Rhine, and the Poles started moving along the German coast. This gave us the opportunity to encircle Berlin. The Polish army came from the north, and we linked up with them from the south. We managed to capture the city some days later. While we fought in Berlin, the Polish army had advanced deep into Germany without resistance. The German army was now in shambles. We used the Polish breakthrough to capture many cities in the northwest of Germany. We also broke through more in the south. And when we encircled and captured Frankfurt, the German army surrendered. In the peace deal, we puppeted Germany and the UK. We also puppeted some former British colonies. As we had taken control over Jerusalem, the Vatican City asked if they could get it. We accepted and gave the city to them because then they joined our faction. As thanks, the Pope blessed our leader, giving us a nice political boost. Now we started to advance to our pan-European focus. Strangely enough, the Sadabat Pact declared war on us, so we did a quick offensive into Egypt and captured all their major cities. They surrendered and we turned our army against Iran. The Iranians had had a civil war, so their army was weak. They surrendered after we captured Tehran. In the peace deal, we puppeted Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Now the day we have all been waiting for is finally here. We proclaimed the creation of the United States of Europe. We got decisions to ally, puppet and integrate nations. We started by immediately integrating the UK. After stockpiling a lot of political power, we could integrate Germany too. With the addition of the British and Germans, we have now a bigger industry and navy than the USA. So, it is finally time to get rid of the US hegemony. The war is finally over. We have defeated the Americans. We divided them and Canada into smaller states. While we fought in the USA, we integrated more nations into the USE, and Italy declared war on us. If you want to see me integrate the rest of Europe, leave a like. 300 for part 2.